All right. So Kyle Kulinski is addressing some things with Jimmy Dore or Aaron Mate. I don't know why Aaron Mate is being thrown into the mix here. Um, I don't remember Aaron Mate being brought up in this, but hey, if you want to cover Aaron Mate, go ahead. I'm interested to see what he has to say on Aaron Mate. TYT, things like that. I think it's because Jimmy Dore started taking like pot shots at Kyle Kulinski online. So Kyle Kulinski's making a video on this. Hey, Picklelyme, I don't know if you know this, but there's a man standing behind you. You know, I've actually walked into my room multiple times because I've had that in my room for the past day now, and I've gotten scared. Like I've jumped because like it's just like it's so. Uh, um, I have no idea what Kyle Kulinski says in this video, so we'll see. We'll see what he says. I'm assuming he will try to avoid saying many bad things about Jimmy Dore like he's done before. He'll probably just condone like he'll probably uh completely be against what Jimmy Dore did with Anna Kasparian. Uh and Aaron Mate, I mean, I would assume Kyle Kulinski would treat Aaron Mate um as much as he would a right winger. Because Aaron Mate, let's be honest, is not a progressive. I think Aaron Mate is on the level of like Glenn Greenwald or worse. Actually, probably worse than Greenwald. Because I mean, at least Greenwald, for what I've seen, hasn't actually denied the existence of like an ethnic cleansing. So
But now we get to this new round where the war has ramped up, and it really is a war now. So this recent round all started with this video from the Young Turks talking about Aaron Mate in their postgame.
They said Aaron Mate yelled at me.
And so Aaron Mate, Aaron Mate. Everyone cares what Aaron Mate has to say, right? Okay. The guy who denies that Syrian children were killed with chemical attacks. Yeah.
And
fuck Aaron Mate. Yeah, fuck you. Anyway, let's move on. Let's end the freaking pod. I can't.
Okay, see, that's what happens.
I can't stand that guy, and I can't stand the very intentional disinformation they put out there in regard to disgusting dictators around the world. The very people they seem to be working for, to be quite honest with you. Let's move on.
All right, we're done.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
So let's state the obvious. That was gross. That was a smear. It's so absurd that the first time I watched it, I literally laughed out loud. I laughed out loud. Cenk was just mad that Aaron like responded to one of his tweets on Israel and Palestine where Cenk said something about sky gods, and Aaron dunked on him. But everybody dunked on Cenk for that tweet. Hassan Piker, his nephew, dunked on him for that tweet. Cenk took it personally that Aaron went after him on that tweet, and so I think that's what led to this segment or this portion of the postgame. But yeah, there's no excuse for this. This is ridiculous. Of course, Aaron Mate is not paid by dictators or paid by the Russians. He's a great journalist who's done a lot of great work.
all right. I'm a little confused considering I don't think I expected Kyle Kulinski to defend Aaron Mate. Am I surprised? I don't know. I've never really seen his viewpoint, Aaron Mate. I don't know if this is a new thing. Holy shit. That was a smear, apparently, according to Kyle Kulinski.
Him on that tweet, and so I think that's what led to smear. It's so absurd.
People they seem to be working for, to be quite honest with you.
And I
Let's
laughed.
All right, we're done.
Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
So let's state the obvious. That was gross. That was a smear. It's so absurd that the first time I watched it, I literally laughed out loud.
Holy shit. All right. Can anyone pull up statements from Aaron Mate? I'll pull up some I can find. So if you want to know what Aaron Mate has done, Aaron Mate is someone. What Kasparian said was basically Aaron Mate has denied the fact that chemical attacks were used on citizens and children in Syria by Assad and his regime. This is not a smear. Not at all. This is 100% what Aaron Mate has implied. This is 100% he has basically worked on for the past couple years, basically trying to poke holes so desperately into the narrative that Assad used chemical weapons on his own citizens, while he ignores the vast majority of evidence. Mate has written extensively on the claims made by the Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, inspectors that the OPCW doctored a report on the Doma chemical attack in order to place blame on the Syrian government and justify missile strikes against Syrian government forces by the US, UK, and France. In February 2020, the Director General of the OPCW said the two inspectors had manifestly incomplete information on the Doma investigation, and their views were not backed by evidence. Mate wrote that Arias dismissed the pair as minor players who refused to accept that their conclusions were erroneous, uninformed, and wrong. In July 2020, Mate wrote in The Nation that no major American media outlets report on the WikiLeaks Doma archive, and even progressive adversarial outlets that traditionally defended whistleblowers and challenged U.S. wars have shunned this story. In September 2020, Mate testified at the United States at an area meeting hosted by the Russian Federation and China about the alleged cover-up of the OPCW. Mate has been throwing out this fucking lie that there isn't actually anything backing up chemical weapon attacks on the citizens of Syria. Now, either by trying to say that it didn't happen at all, or trying to pin the blame on the rebels, which it's all over the place. People that try to say that actually spout this kind of thing are all over the place on whether it even happened, and if it did, it was actually the rebels. They're all over the place because they know that they're actually fucking lying through their teeth. Now, Mate is covering one report from the OPCW, in which he claims that there were a lot of contentious problems. He's been covering this for the past he's been covering this for a very, very long time now. He had been talking about the OPCW and, fraudulent methods that they've used back in 2018. He's saying it today. If you want to know whether the OPCW actually messed with the results, there are some contentious, there's a contentious discourse on this. So it does seem that when it came to one of the reports, the OPCW there might have been some biases there. There probably was in some form, but you got to remember, this is one attack, one chemical attack. When there was when there was a dozen or more, one where there was maybe some shoddy evidence. That's you could bring out any other historical example where there's been whistleblowers or people that have tried to say, well, this certain thing is faked. Or, hey, look, the Holocaust actually was fake. I found some whistleblowers. Or, hey, look, I found documents showing that, hey, things don't actually line up that properly. Or you try to find, oh, this one location wasn't really a concentration camp. Or it wasn't as bad as you think. Any tragedy or any genocide, ethnic cleansing, or attack from oppressive governments on the people, you can find something like that. At UN, from the Gray Zone, Aaron Mate debunks OPCW Syria lies and confronts US, UK on cover-up. So basically, what he's trying to say is that the US and the UK are covering up everything that happened in Syria. By the way, there was a second OPCW report where they redid it and they found actual, concrete evidence. This doesn't really say much. Oh, does anyone have, he's tweeted a lot about it. He's, had Twitter arguments over this shit. Can anyone find one?
That's one of many. One of many. So if you... The thing with the Syrian attacks and the Syrian gas attacks, whether they be sarin or bleach or whatever the case may be, the one specific instance that Aaron Mate is attempting to debunk in this case, that's one of many. One of many. So if you were to take, even in the most good faith way possible, that this one attack was done...
Yeah, 17 instances of chemical weapons used in Syria.
Done by ISIS rebels, or this one attack was done by ISIL, and was not done by Syria itself. Of the multiple chemical attacks, several of them several of them have been associated with ISIS. I believe 2 or 3 of them have been correlated, being committed by ISIS themselves. And then an overwhelming majority, I think something to the tune of 70 plus, have been associated with Syria and Bashar al-Assad himself. The International Chemical Weapons Watchdog has told the United Nations Security Council and its experts...
I don't live in a closet. You can see the closet back there. But yeah, Aaron Mate is very bad. He is not a progressive. Where the fuck is it? There was like some really bad tweets I remember seeing from Aaron Mate. Anything Foss shows here? Those look like tweets. Is this it?
Blocked by Aaron Mate. Somebody said the OPCW leaked drafts.
Time.
I'm assuming this
Yeah,
is Twitter.
I'm actually seeing that right now. Somebody linked a tweet in chat right now, and it's from somebody who got blocked by Aaron Mate. Somebody said the OPCW leaked draft said claims of staging are, quote, based on little or no evidence. And somebody else, Aaron Mate, says, wow, can you share a screenshot and the page number of this amazing find? Skeptical emoji, clown face emoji. And then the guy responds, page 28, quote, one criterion used in forensic epidemiology to assess causation considers the possibility of an alternate explanation. The team considered alternate injury events, but stressed they are founded on few or no substantiated facts.
That's from WikiLeaks.
And then Mate blocked him.
I'm actually really surprised Kyle Kulinski would outright come out and say that Aaron Mate is just a good journalist and that this is a smear, even though this is literally Aaron Mate's position. Of course, Aaron Mate will say, oh yeah, Assad, he's a very brutal dictator and bad, but... and pull out any excuse to pin the blame on the US, UK, and fucking Western countries. The Western countries have done a lot of shitty things. It is not their fault Assad is gassing his own citizens.
I laughed out loud.
Me when I laugh out loud when someone says a Holocaust denier is a Holocaust
I
denier.
was just mad that Aaron responded to one of his tweets on Israel and Palestine where Cenk said something about sky gods, and Aaron dunked on him. Use for this? This is ridiculous. Of course, Aaron Mate is not paid by dictators or paid by the Russians. He's a great journalist.
I mean, I'm pretty Aaron Mate. He's with the gray zone. The gray zone won't disclose its funding. The gray zone has basically been extremely pro, Russia and the Syrian government. Blumenthal has contributed to Russia Today. Has he contributed to other news networks as well? He's working at literally the same news group as Blumenthal. So
what do I think of that?
And by the way, he's had, again, like what I think Young Chino put earlier, he's met, Russian officials at like embassies and stuff like that.
Of course, I think of that the exact same thing that all of you fucking knew I thought of it, which is like, that's the dumbest thing.
No, sorry, not embassies, assemblies.
I've ever seen in my life. And also, let me say, I get McCarthy smeared all the time. Anybody who took the position that I took on Russiagate gets McCarthy smeared all the time. I literally debated Cenk on the issue of Russiagate. One of the many reasons I stopped reading my Twitter mentions is because I would get McCarthy smeared. So listen, Aaron is upset that Crystal Ball and I haven't commented on this until now. And listen, again, for the...
These progressive news networks are not covering the truth on Syria, the truth on how they're covering it up. The Western countries are covering up what actually happened when it came to the chemical attacks, the dozens of chemical attacks. Now, let me point to this one chemical attack where there maybe have been some shoddy evidence, but I can't actually prove it, either way. But, then I'll use that to imply that, no, Assad didn't actually gas the citizens, and there's no proof, and I'm going to ignore anything that anyone brings up in the contrary, and I'll block anyone that actually disagrees with me. Oh, now let me. Oh wait, I just talked shit about other networks. Oh no, now they're actually now they're actually talking back to me. No, even though I've been shit talking them, and now they're actually responding. I'm the victim. Fuck off. No, Kyle, he is not the victim in this. No, he's not. the dude that has been downplaying the murder of innocent children is not the fucking victim.
He's a lovely dude, and then he gets this from TYT. It's super fucked up.
He's a lovely dude. No, Aaron Mate is not a fucking lovely dude. What the fuck? Is this been like, is Kyle Kulinski like on a let's deny the fucking attempted ethnic cleansing and, you know, mass murders in Syria arc? Is this what Kyle Kulinski's doing now? What the fuck? I like Kyle, but what the fuck? This is fucking disgusting.
So anyway, listen, I'm not trying to make an excuse. What happened to Aaron was wrong. But I think that's so obvious that I'm like, really? You need me to say it? Like, you don't know what my position already is on Russiagate? You don't know what the things I've said on Russia? You don't know the things I've said on Syria? Like, I'm fucking 100% in alignment with Aaron on all those things. Would I agree with him on all that?
Um, 100%, huh? Yeah?
And then turn around and be like, you know, I think TYT's right, and he's paid by fucking Russian dictators. I mean, honestly, it's absurd. So after that happened, Jimmy and Aaron responded. Oh, make perfect sense. They responded a number of times. Makes perfect sense. Aaron has gone on a number of outlets to respond. He wants to sort of clear it.
What the fuck? I've never actually seen Kyle Quincy's takes on, when it came to, like, the gassing of citizens in Syria, so it's really fucking just, I don't know what to say. I'm just speechless. In Syria, one desperate father is making gas masks from paper cups to protect his family against possible chemical attacks. And in my house, one desperate media consumer is making masks out of plastic and paper bags to protect himself against shameless humanitarian interventionist propaganda. What a fucking absolute piece of shit. Imagine responding to a tweet about how they have to make fucking gas masks from paper cups to protect children from chemical attacks. Imagine fucking responding to that saying, "Oh yeah, well, I'm making masks to protect myself against shameless humanitarian interventionist propaganda." What a piece of fucking shit. This is denial of the gas tax, by the way. This had nothing to do with fucking even gas tax being, like, done by the Syrian government. He's not even saying the rebels are doing it. He's just saying it's not a thing. What an actual just garbage human being. This is someone that, you know, Aaron Mate associates himself with. They both work for the Gray Zone. This is why the Gray Zone's so bad. And it's not actually a progressive outlet, let's be honest. When toxicologists ruled out chlorine gas in Doma, by the way, he's still talking about this one incident. This one incident. The OPCW erased their inconvenient findings. Unfortunately for the OPCW's cover-up culprits, they later got caught. And they also can't erase the other experts who gave the same assessment to the Washington Post. No. I said no one has produced a single piece of journalism with facts and sources, not opinions and rants, showing why I'm wrong. That's because they can't. The facts are too damning. Blocks anyone who does.
His name. I don't blame him for that at all. The Young Turks then doubled down and brought on some idiot who parroted the State Department line on Syria. It was really sad to watch. It was like, what are you doing? Don't double down on this. You're so wrong. You're not even close.
The State Department line on Syria? Wait, just because the State Department says something doesn't mean it's automatically a lie. These people, they've just been parroting the media's narrative on the Holocaust, you know? I mean, it's actually embarrassing. Like, you're so wrong. I mean, I don't know, if you look at Zyklon B, can that really kill you though? Like, what the fuck? The State Department's line on Syria. No, you mean the truth? Just because the State Department is saying it, and the State Department's fucking shitty, doesn't mean it's wrong. You can't get around it. What has mostly been said about Syria and Assad gassing his citizens is true. It just is. Now, have some people use this as a justification to bomb even civilian targets in Syria and try to take the resources of Syria? Yes, of course warhawks have done that. That doesn't make it not true. There were warhawks that did it during World War II against Nazi Germany. That doesn't mean we don't do anything about Nazi Germany.
To write, it was just sad to watch.
Would Kyle Kulinski be one of the fucking America First people during World War II? Would he? Aaron Mate definitely would be. 100% Aaron Mate would do that. Aaron Mate would 100% try to be like, no, the Nazis are really bad, dude, but I don't know if we should intervene and allow fucking Nazis to steamroll Europe, allowing millions to die. 100%. There was a strong left-wing movement for anti-interventionism during World War II. I would call myself an anti-interventionist. But I realize when there's certain things like, I don't know, the rise of Hitler, that interventionism, I think it would be a rare case, but in that case would save millions of lives.
But then there was another escalation. And the escalation came when this happened.
And I'll tell you this story, the story about
When sexual harassment happened.
that was followed by an apology card you wrote me for degrading harassment. Anna Kasparian used to dress, when I worked there, unbelievably inappropriately for a newsroom. She looked like she was going to a rave. The skirt, one time she came into the newsroom with a skirt so short, it wasn't a pencil skirt, it was like a fluffy one too, but so short that she bent over in front of me and I literally saw her ass and her thong. She's wearing a thong. I literally saw it. Everybody saw it. And I go, hey, Anna, nice news skirt. And everybody laughed. Like they laughed louder than I thought they would. And so it humiliated her. She got humiliated in the middle of the newsroom. And I did it. And I felt bad. At that time, we were friendly. And I was just busting her balls, right, for dressing like that in a newsroom. You're going to bend over and show me your ass? I think that's a little, I'm not offended, but I think that's a little risque. Imagine if I did that, if I walked around showing my ass to everybody. So when I did that, so she got really mad. She got humiliated. Her face turned red. She tried to insult me back, and it just fell flat. And she looks, bad. And I felt bad for her. I didn't fight. I didn't want to make her feel that. I just wanted to make a little joke. And all I said was, "Hey, Anna, nice news skirt." And everybody in the newsroom, because everybody saw how inappropriate she dresses. She used to dress, and everybody saw it. And so that's why I got such a huge laugh, and she was so humiliated. So I felt bad for her. So the next day I wrote her a card saying, hey, I'm sorry, I won't do that again. That was inappropriate. You don't have to worry about that happening again. I won't comment on your clothes anymore. I should have said no matter how fucking ridiculous.
You mean you'll stop commenting on her thong?
On her thong. That I can see. So let's bring in Max. Now, Max, where would you like to take the conversation?
History with these people. So I have no problem with Anna Kasparian's style of dress.
Let's talk to them.
We don't have a dress code at the Gray Zone. People can show up however they want.
Even though the Gray Zone is like it's supposed to be some lefty thing, apparently, some like progressive news outlet, I would put people from the Gray Zone on the same level as like what you see on like from disgusting like right wingers like I don't know, Glenn Beck or even Steven Crowder. I'd put them on the same level. I really would. I think the Gray Zone is the Gray Zone is regressive, but the Gray Zone is also just defending dictators, humanitarian crisis, trying to say they don't even exist. The Gray Zone is horrible.
My reaction, as I was listening to that live, and by the way, I was with Crystal when it happened, we started cringing more and more the more Jimmy talked, and ultimately my reaction was exactly like Max Blumenthal's. In that moment, we are all Max Blumenthal. And
yeah, Evan Blumenthal was like, nah, man, Jimmy, gotta calm down. I'm willing to crack jokes about children needing masks to protect themselves from chemical attacks. I'm willing to crack jokes and say, it's all they're scared of fear mongering from Western propaganda, even though they live in Syria. But I'm able to crack jokes about that. But I don't know, Jimmy. This is kind of too much for me. You know it's really bad. It's bad.
understand something, guys. My issue is actually not with the original incident that Jimmy's talking about there. Now, to be fair, Jimmy says, hey, it was a bad joke. Anna says it wasn't a bad joke. It was Jimmy commenting on me in a sexual way in front of my students. Her students were in the room at the time. Now, I wasn't there. I'll never know exactly what happened. I don't think Jimmy's a sex pest. I don't think he's a criminal. I don't think this is a hashtag Me Too thing. But my issue with the thing we just saw is what he just said right there. Oh, she dresses inappropriate. Inappropriate? Who the fuck are you to determine what isn't appropriate for her? Are you a fundamentalist Christian? I mean, that's like some hardcore Republican thing to say. And if I'm being objective about this, even though Jimmy's my friend, if somebody spoke about my mom or my sister or my girlfriend like that, it would take every fiber of my being to not want to beat the shit out of them. Because that's humiliating. And he admits that it was a humiliating thing in the
Alright, it's good that Kyle's actually being very affirmative on this.
segment. But then it doesn't occur to you that maybe bringing this up again.
If Kyle's like, nah, what should we do? It's fine, you know? Like, if he was like, it's a bit uncomfortable, it's fine, I just would have gone off the video. Like, it just would have been over. Like, there's no hope.
And talking about it in the way you're talking about it is like, gonna humiliate her yet
I
again.
need to see more of Kyle Kulinski's coverage on the chemical weapons being used in Syria. I really need to. Is this not a new development? Is this really something he's been saying before? Because I've never noticed. I've never heard him say this. Yeah, it's... I don't know.
And that doesn't occur to you? So listen, I just look at that and I think, that's kind of gross. And so my initial reaction was, and I still feel it to this day, is, whoa, okay, I want nothing to do with any of this. So like to that point, sure, at any point I could have jumped in and regulated and been like, all right, come on guys, Jimmy and Aaron are right about X, Y, and Z. The Young Turks, you're wrong about most of the policy stuff here, let's be serious. But I could have stepped in at any point there before that and been like, here are my thoughts on the whole thing, and everybody would have been like, okay, it's fine. Once this happened, I was like, oh shit, I don't want to go anywhere near this. I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, dog. And listen, I think you're lying if you don't think that's understandable. Of course that's understandable. What a weird position I'm in as friends with all of them, and then this is unfolding in front of me. So Crystal and I were planning to have Jimmy on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends one day. We were planning to have Cenk on Crystal, Kyle, and Friends one day. And then as we watched this, we decided, you know what? We don't want to have either one of them on right now, because then we would be responsible for getting in the middle of this absolute mess. And we would have to ask really uncomfortable questions that are really personal in nature. And I don't have anything to do with some personal shit. Nothing at all. I care about policy. I don't care about personal shit. I don't want to be involved in this sort of stuff.
All right, so you have someone who is, even from his side of the story, he's admitting to sexual harassment. From his side, he's still admitting sexual harassment. It's pretty bad. So bad that even Blumenthal was like, yeah, I want to stay out of that. But then you have Anna Kasparian and TYT, who are clearly... Anna Kasparian is definitely the victim in this, 100%. And because of this specific incident, he won't have anyone on. This is not like a both sides thing. This is like clearly there is a clear right and wrong here. Like let's be honest. Jimmy Dore is definitely in the wrong here. Not only just in the personal stuff, but also on the policy stuff as well. But it seems like Kyle Kulinski agrees with him on stuff like Syria, which is scary and very disappointing from Kyle. I don't know why. It's very disappointing that Kyle would listen to just outright conspiracy rather than the overwhelming evidence just because U.S. bad. And that he likes Aaron Mate. Jesus Christ. But, no, this is not like a both sides thing. There's a clear right and wrong here.
So, people might disagree with us on that. People might like the fact that it's, you'll get a lot of clicks out of it, and it's like some reality star fighting stuff. I don't want anything to do with it, man. I don't want anything to do with it. So now you might be saying, okay, well then why are you talking about it now? Well, the reason I'm talking about it now is I was dragged into it because I think Jimmy's upset that I'm not crusading in his defense or something, or agreeing with him 100% on every aspect of this, policy-wise and personal-wise. So he did some passive-aggressive stuff today on Twitter that caught my eye. The first thing, as you can see here, is he liked this tweet. Somebody tweeted at Crystal and me and said, seriously though, you're ignoring the Syria story completely to avoid drama. Weak. Now, of course, I responded to this with a bunch of question marks because the idea that I ignored the Syria thing is factually wrong. I covered it literally on my last show, and it was the very first video. You want to know why? Because I never, ever, 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 ever shy away from anything policy-wise. The policy shit is my job. It's my job to come out here, give you news, give you facts, give you information, and give you my opinion. And so that's what I do. What is not my job is some weird interpersonal.
Jimmy Dore just wants to leech off of Kyle Kulinski. That's all he wants to do. Kyle's not going to be able to maintain his supposed friendship with Jimmy Dore because Jimmy Dore is purposefully burning all his fucking bridges if they don't perfectly align with what he believes, which it isn't really much. It's really just libs bad, and you can't really stray from that whatsoever.
Beef regulation, which now, unfortunately, I've been dragged into. But again, I want nothing to do with that. I'm going to reiterate that 1,000 times throughout this segment. So, listen.
Jimmy Dore's not even really a progressive. He doesn't even actually support Medicare for all. I mean, he's gone on like huge rants before, about like, you know, when it came to like the primary candidates backing off Medicare for all, which makes sense to do that. But then when it came to Tulsi Gabbard backing off Medicare for all, he was ready to throw out the excuses immediately. So it seems like all Jimmy Dore really cares about is the attention and I guess clout that he thinks he'll receive. That's why he was mad at AOC for not going on his show. But, you know, Tulsi Gabbard can back off of Medicare for all, but she goes on his show, so he's fine with it.
The tweet that he says, you're going to ignore the Syria story, and I quote, completely to avoid drama. No, I'm avoiding the drama to avoid the drama. I'm diving headfirst into the Syria shit because that's my fucking job. And of course I'm going to dive headfirst into it. So I see that, I'm like, what are you doing, Jimmy? What are you doing? You know I'm going to talk about Syria shit, and I did talk about the Syria shit. So why are you liking a tweet that says I didn't talk about the Syria shit? And then we got this response from him. So he says, and he's quoting somebody else who said this, but this is the sentiment he agrees with. I think they are talking about the OPCW cover-up and the slanderous conduct of your friends Cenk and Anna in trying to destroy the reputation of Aaron Mate. But you can keep pretending that doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so we already talked about the Aaron Mate thing. The other thing they're talking about here is the OPCW report. They're claiming I never said anything about it. Really? This is from my very last live stream.
So we're the rebels in Syria.
You know Andy No? And how some people will call him a journalist? When he's like he's like the lowest tier journalist you ever could like conceive of. Aaron Mate's on the same level. Aaron Mate is the Andy No of the supposed left. I wouldn't even consider him really progressive, even though he calls himself that. But he's basically just another version of Andy No, but supposedly on the left, at least according to him. So no, this is fucking. No, I think Max is worse. I was talking about Aaron Mate. No, Max, though, Blumenthal is also, I would say, yeah, around that. I think Blumenthal is worse. From what you showed me. I don't think... Aaron Mate doesn't go that mask off. He doesn't. He tries to hide under, like, oh, I'm not saying that, you know, Assad is a good guy, or that the chemical, you know, attacks 100% didn't happen, but like a lot of like Holocaust deniers do, or deniers of, you know, the rape of Nanking, or, you know, any other tragedy or anything a oppressive government has done to its people or other countries' people. Did you see Mac's video in Venezuela? No.
Those pretending that doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, so we already talked about the Aaron Mate thing. The other thing they're talking about here is the OPCW report. They're claiming I never said anything about it. Really? This is from my very last live stream.
So we're the rebels in Syria we are the rebels in Syria doing the chemical attacks on the people. So we're, it says W-E-apostrophe-R-E. I think this person is saying, was it the rebels that did the chemical attacks on the people in Syria?
All right, guys. Hey, what do you think he's gonna say? Everyone, put it in chat. What do you think? A. Kyle Kulinski is going to say, no, the rebels did not do the attack on Syria. It was Assad's government. B. Yes, the evidence points that the rebels did do the attack on Syria. In Syria when it came to chemical weapons. C. He's going to give a non-answer. Or D. Other. Alright, guys, let's see. What do you put in? D is going to hint at it, though.
You guys had to, you know, follow this stuff. The OPCW whistleblower, I don't know if you guys remember this, but this just came out not that long ago.
It turns out that all the claims from the Western governments were total bullshit, and they had no evidence for it. So yes, the claims of the chemical attacks against the civilians in Syria done by the Assad government, that turns out to be total bullshit. And it's not me saying it; it's whistleblowers who were at the UN who were like, "That's not true at all." This was a big story, but it was kind of hidden. It was only like Aaron Mate and a handful of other people who really blew the whistle on it. So, and listen, I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit, but yeah, I called that one from the beginning. It was very similar to the Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, and it was not true. And in the case of Assad, I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember when Assad gave up all his chemical weapons? Remember that? There was a moment where it was like John Kerry.
Huh? What the fuck? No. All right. Because of whistleblowers, all the claims made in Syria are total bullshit on Assad's government gassing its own citizens. That's what he just fucking said. No. You could find whistleblowers throughout history that were completely bullshitting. And that were paid off, or incentivized to do it financially, or had some other incentives to do it. Or political affiliation. Aaron Mate has some affiliations when it comes to Russian officials. Aaron Mate works for a news network that won't disclose its funding and is friends with someone within that same network that has given contributions to Russian state media who have an interest in defending Assad. Aaron Mate has completely outright lied on multiple cases, has downplayed the chemical attacks, and he's been hyperfixated on one incident and ignoring all the other evidence on every single other fucking incident when it came to gas attacks in Syria. No. When it came to whistleblowers, no, those whistleblowers were in Doma. It was just one incident. The whistleblowers he's talking about in the UN was for one investigation on one of the attacks. Not the whole narrative on whether chemical attacks were being used against the citizens of Syria. No, you cannot look at one incident and then say, oh, the entire narrative is bullshit. You could have done this with the Holocaust. You don't think when we were learning about the Holocaust and we had limited information, there were some things that were said that were probably not completely true? When we were reporting, when we had actual information coming in, when people investigated it, then maybe there were some original things that we thought that weren't actually true. Of course there was. It's an incident that we have limited information on that we're trying to investigate. That doesn't mean the Holocaust didn't fucking happen.
My own horn here a little bit, but yeah, I called that one from the beginning. It was very similar to the
What did you call?
UN, who were like, that's not true at all. This was a big story, but it was kind of hidden. It was only like Aaron Mate and a handful of other people who really blew the whistle on it. So, and listen, I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit, but yeah, I called that one from the beginning. It was very similar to the Saddam has weapons of mass destruction, and it was not true. And
oh my god. All right. This is so dumb. Historical precedents cannot be completely used to dismiss or expect anything. It cannot. It can be used as a guiding hand, but not to completely dismiss something. For example, when it came, you know how the U.S. there was like fear-mongering on Iran wanting to attack the U.S. or whatever? We knew that was never going to happen. But like it was like some silly fear-mongering on that. And of course, you know, progressives were like, well, yeah, well, of course, this is actually just batshit crazy. This is insane. If you were to use per historical precedents, you could argue that Iran actually did have plans to attack us because look, when we've had massive campaigns and when it comes to ads and spreading information that is fear-mongering when it comes to war, look back in World War II of Nazi Germany. Nazi Germany did have plans to eventually invade the U.S. probably years later than when we actually invaded Nazi Germany, but that's besides the point. That doesn't actually mean anything. No, it's not very reminiscent of like the whole Iraq thing or Afghanistan or anything else similar to that, because there's a huge difference. When we claimed that Assad had weapons of mass destruction, we didn't provide evidence. We barely provided anything. It was very vague, very limited information, and some of it was just outright lies. We have overwhelming evidence when it comes to Assad gassing his own citizens. It is not the same in any way. This is like on the same level as, like, I don't know, fucking the front page of some Nazi website see, we knew the truth. Look at this whistleblower from 1955 that came out and said that this certain concentration camp, there was this one little detail that was a little off when it came to reporting. Like, this is ridiculous.
And in the case of Assad, I don't know if you guys remember this. Remember when Assad gave up all of his chemical weapons? Remember that? There was a moment where it was like John Kerry and some Russian counterpart doing a press conference, and they basically said, is there anything that Syria could do to make you not, like, attack or invade? And basically, Kerry said something like, yeah, give up all your chemical weapons, but that's not going to happen. And then the very next day, or within the next week, Assad was like, here, take all my chemical weapons. And they did. They came and they took all the chemical weapons. And so it's funny that, like, everybody forgets that part. But then they go on to say, well, obviously he was attacking civilians with gas. So in other words, at a time when he already basically won the war, he was going to attack his own civilians with gas, which would bring the West right back into it. It's nonsense. And it turns out we learned.
Wait, what? I don't know if I can finish this, guys. I don't know if I can finish it. I don't think I can finish this. I mean, I hate to bring up more Nazi references, but when it comes to denial, I mean, the Holocaust has one of the most fucking, has probably one of the most, like, I don't even know how to, like, finish this. I don't know. But when it comes to the Holocaust, there's so many arguments of people like, certain people online, or offline, trying to argue that the Holocaust never happened. And, you know, it's been such a long time, and it's been so historically documented that, of course, a lot of arguments and discourse has, over the years, has kind of, you know, sprouted off of that. Why it would make no sense for Assad to let's say, kill his own citizens during wartime. Do you know who else did that? The Nazis. On a much, much bigger scale. The Nazis spent resources. Nazis were fighting 3 fucking superpowers. 3 world global powers. And still spent resources to exterminate about 11 million people in total. And to maintain those concentration camps. Does that make sense when it comes to a war? Not really. But they still fucking did it. You cannot at one time use historical precedents as an absolute. But when it comes to here, can be completely ignorant of the historical precedents. It seems like Kyle has some sentimental attachment to this. And that he just wants to defend Aaron Mate. And just apparently has some, like, I don't know, just appreciates his work maybe because he knows him or he just appreciates him in general, where he's just willing to fucking look past any evidence that flies into his fucking face.
It was total nonsense.
Now, that's not even the only time I brought it up. I brought it up 3 or 4 times. I've done literally over 100 segments on Syria. Now, granted, most of those, I mean, almost all of them are about the Civil War, but, you know, since we got the OPCW whistleblower and Aaron did that great work, almost every segment on Syria, I've brought up that fact. So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm doing policy shit exactly right, yet I'm still somehow getting these weird passive-aggressive criticisms. So here's the bottom line, guys. Everybody needs to stop dragging me into some bullshit. This has absolutely nothing to do with me. If they want to keep duking it out, they can keep duking it out. I don't buy this notion that, well, everything they're doing is talking about policy. Nonsense, because if that was the case, well, guess what? I've done 103 segments on Syria, 82 on Russia, 16 on Russia Gate. I debated Cenk on Russia.
I can't finish it. I can't do it. I can't. Only a few more minutes. It's like 10 more minutes. Jimmy apologized for the joke? Yeah, let me apologize for the sexual harassment. That means you can no longer have a grudge or be mad about it at all. Even though Anna Kasparian has talked about fucking multiple incidents of this happening that Jimmy's been lying about. It's not... this is so bad. I mean, of course, all these dislikes from the Jimmy Dore fans and not actual reasonable people that say, maybe defending you know, the mass murder of Syrian civilians and saying it's not actually happening, or the rebels are doing it. Maybe that's bad. Someone needs to confront Kyle Kulinski on the Syria thing. This is unbelievably bad. This is horrible. This is the worst thing I've ever seen from Kyle Kulinski. I used to be a big Kyle Kulinski fan, and even then I would still watch Kyle. Even now I would still watch Kyle Kulinski, you know, now and then. But this is very sad. Now let's play this again so no one thinks I'm misrepresenting him. This is what he says.
They're claiming I never said anything about it. Really? This is from my very last...
I think this person is saying, was it the rebels that did the chemical attacks on the people in Syria? You guys had to, follow this stuff. The OPCW whistleblower. I don't know if you guys remember this, but this just came out not that long ago. It turns out that all the claims from the Western governments were total bullshit, and they had no evidence for it. So yes, the claim
from this one whistleblower, so he believes it. It tells you that he already has a bias coming into this, so he's already okay to do exactly what fucking Aaron Mate is doing, and just sweep away any evidence that flies contradictory to what he's saying right now.
Claims of the chemical attacks against the civilians in Syria.
This is just completely conspiratorial brain. This is the exact same type of arguments that I hear from actual Holocaust deniers, or people that deny the rape of Nanking, or people that deny the Armenian genocide. They'll bring up these very niche things. They'll bring up a whistleblower or these supposed documents or leaks. But when you look into it, it's very vague. It's pretty much bullshit. Or if it's actually some contradictory evidence that they give, the vast majority of evidence other than that shows that no, affirmatively, that this thing did happen.
Done by the Assad government.
I can't finish this, I'm sorry. I'm not finishing it. I can't finish that. This is the exact same stuff that the America First movement did during World War II. 100%. The supposed left-wing people that were completely fine with, the rights of other people in other countries being completely violated because it's not America, are being, calling themselves anti-interventionists, but going to the extreme and using that as a fucking... I can't. I'm done talking about this. I'm done.